Hello there, everybody. It's Friday, July 24th. Time again for our weekly update of some of the top stories of this week. Brought to you on the News Project Live, courtesy of GNAT-TV's Facebook page. I'm Andrew McKeever, the news director at GNAT-TV's News Project. Great to have you with us again today. We're just going to do a quick little run through of some of the major stories that have happened. And we're going to start today in Montpelier. Some of you may already know earlier today at his Friday morning press conference, Governor Phil Scott announced that the state would be implementing a mandatory face mask order starting August 1st. Up until this point, the governor has resisted going to that level, hoping that education and encouragement and just sort of hoping that people would kind of do the right thing would be adequate, and he sort of feels that Vermont's caseload numbers on the COVID-19 virus cases has shown that that policy has been certainly adequate up to now. But with the arrival of more visitors from out of state during the summer, and especially likely to happen in the fall, as well as Vermonters going out of state as well to other places where some of the virus counts are a little bit higher, has persuaded him that now is a time to shift gears a little bit and put in place a mandatory policy that will be in effect when you go into any kind of public building, whether it's a grocery store, a gas station, whatever. Um, you'll have to wear a mask, and also wear a mask outside if you're in a situation where you can't physically distance or social distance enough from other people. That's the 6 foot rule, basically. Um, the governor clearly was kind of reluctant to go there, but it just felt that it was better to be safe than sorry when you look around at other parts of the country, like in the South and Western states, and also now seeing more spread in the Midwest, kind of getting closer to the Northeast again. So he thought now was a good time to kind of get ahead of the curve, so to speak, and put in place this mandatory mask policy. Um, as many of you know, several of our local communities around here already have a mandatory mask policy. Manchester, Londonderry, Shaftesbury, Wilmington, Brattleboro all have them, but now this will be a statewide scenario as well. It's been a very controversial topic, as many of us know. There have been some folks that, for one reason or another, have resisted that, but now that will change. There will be a couple of exemptions. Important to note, if you have a medical condition of some kind or another that makes wearing a face mask hazardous, you can opt out. Also, if you're younger than 2 years old, it won't apply to you. But if you are 2 years old or older, then yeah, you're in the mask business here. Also, strenuous exercise, you get an exemption for that. But otherwise, if you're going to be out in the public and closer than 6 feet to people and can't back up, well, uh, beginning August 1st, you'll be wanting to have that mask with you. The other COVID story we're still kind of keeping tabs on a little bit is kind of the follow up to the contradictory results that we saw uh, in the last couple of weeks from the local Manchester Medical Center's antigen tests, and then the state health department's preferred PCR or polymerase chain reaction tests. Um, as I'm sure just about everybody knows at this point, there were 65 positive antigen tests given by the medical received by the medical center out of I think roughly 700 that they did, persuading them to kind of sound the alarm and say, hey, we might have a bad situation here. Um, there were about 1,600, more than 1,600 of the PCR tests given in the Manchester and Londonderry areas over the past couple of weeks, and of those, only five were positive. So those conflicting results kind of have a lot of folks scratching heads, including the health professionals. They are bringing in some outside resources from the Centers for Disease Control and also the manufacturer of the antigen tests that seem to indicate there were a lot of positive cases, or potentially a lot of positive cases out there. So I guess we'll continue to kind of just sort of see where that leads us, because something went wrong somewhere. Obviously, there was either a bad batch of tests or something went wrong in the analysis of them, or it could be a couple of different reasons, and we'll learn more, we assume, in the not too distant future. Um, but anyway, that obviously had everyone quite concerned around here. But the good news is that for now, anyway, we don't seem to be at the epicenter of an outbreak, but it was an opportunity for the health professionals to encourage us all to double down on face mask wearing, social distancing, washing hands, and all of the other basic rules that we've heard frequently since the middle of March. Um, Meanwhile, also up in Londonderry, the town hall is kind of back in business again, sort of. There will be a drop-off and pickup window open, as you may have heard. Londonderry's town hall closed down a couple of weeks ago when there was some thought that there might have been someone doing some research in the building at the town vault, and that may have set off some of the cases. So they are going to be reopening, but only kind of gradually. People who need to do research for records, for legal reasons or whatever, will be able to do that and get access to the vault, but only 2 people a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And before I leave this all together, I should mention that the Manchester Journal has a really great story that'll be appearing in this week's paper about that whole COVID follow-up on the antigen and PCR testing. You might find interesting to read. So, just real quick then to finish things off on the Route 30 work that's being done between Manchester and Dorset. Got a word in here this morning from the Vermont Transportation Agency, or VTrans. Let's see what's going to be going on here. The main thing is that motorists should be prepared for some delays beginning next week. There will be some paving work starting on the shoulders, and that traffic will might be reduced to one lane in places, so there will be some probable delays if you're traveling between Manchester and Dorset on Route 30. Also, just wanted to point out that we hosted a debate between the 3 candidates who are running in the Democratic Party primary, in the primary that will be held on August 11th for the 2-member Bennington 4 district. That's a district that includes Manchester, Arlington, Sandgate, and most of Sunderland. Representative Kathleen James, who's one of the incumbents, is running for re-election. Seth Bongartz and Jamie Dufour have also thrown their hats in the ring. So the top 2 vote getters in that primary will go on to the November general election ballot, where Cynthia Browning, the Representative Cynthia Browning, the other current state representative, will be running as an independent. So we had that debate on Wednesday. It is already up on GNAT's website, GNAT-TV.org. Really interesting conversation, about an hour long. We covered a lot of different topics. Those of you who follow this, I think, will find it very interesting. And also a reminder, just to kind of, if you want to vote early, you can do that. You can also vote the traditional way by going to the polls on August 11th, but the experience will be a little bit different. But meanwhile, you can mail in your ballot, and a lot of Vermonters have been doing that. One final note, I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again, the census count. Numbers are still lagging in Vermont and nationwide, and that's like kind of a big deal. As we said before, a lot of federal dollars get associated with the census count numbers. So if Vermont is undercounted, fewer federal dollars flowing to the state, and we don't want that. Definitely want to get our fair share of it. So if you haven't talked to a census count worker yet, or filled out a page, go to census2020.gov. You can be done in 5 minutes. And we'll leave it at that for today. I hope you all have a great weekend. Sounds like it's going to be another warm one out there, but I guess it's the end of July, so what can you expect? But anyway, again, thanks for being with us today. I'm Andrew McKeever, News Director of the GNAT-TV News Project. We'll see you again next Friday. Have a great day.